Always be asking yourself, can we get more out of this? Every event, every interview, every message, treat them as opportunities to create content that ties back to those goals like enrollment, yield, reputation, whatever. That's how you avoid becoming like the yes department and instead become the team that makes video actually work for your institution. Hey, welcome to the Higher Ed Storytelling University podcast, a show where we bring together Marcom leaders from both inside and outside higher ed to give you fresh perspectives on successful organic content creation and strategy in higher education. My name is John Azoni. I'm the founder at Unveiled, a video production company working specifically with colleges on their storytelling and commercial video content. You can learn more about our work at unveiled.tv. That's UNVEILD. And if creating content that resonates emotionally with your audience is a priority for you, then you need to be subscribed to the Higher Ed Storytellers Digest. It's my weekly newsletter where we cover a lot of ground about content creation and strategy in higher ed. So sign up for that for free at unveiled.tv/newsletter. All right, let's get on with the show. Recently, I was working with a college on their video strategy. We did a whole strategy workshop, and we discovered they had a scattered team of doers. They had some people at different campuses that could do video. They had in the central, unit or creative unit or whatever, they had two-person video team. They're really good, but there's just not enough of them to go around. And so we were talking about how do we create a unified approach and what is working against, unifying all of these, people that can do video to some degree. And it became clear, instead of creating intentional content that helped meet institutional goals, the big stuff like enrollment and, really being a pillar in the community and things like that, they were getting bogged down filming these events that didn't matter. And they told me going all over the state, filming events and live streaming events because different departments had asked for it. And leadership's reasoning, or whoever was asking for its reasoning, was it'd just be great to have this filmed just in case, someone can't make it. So totally get that. But the problem here is filming for posterity at the expense of being really intentional and forward pushing. This is not a problem at all that is unique to this school. I've seen this a lot, and I'm sure you have too and can relate on some level, but they're spending their time and resources creating content for maybe one person who couldn't make it to an event. It's funny because in the workshop, they were kind of like, it might be like one or two people that can't make it to this event that might actually watch this. So all of those resources being fed and funneled into content that's just for posterity. So filming for posterity is a trap, and it's a very common trap. It's the same energy as, the person that I'm really not a big fan of fireworks because I'm just kind of like, you've seen one, you've seen them all. Not everyone shares that sentiment with me. But what's funny to me is I like to people watch the folks that are filming the fireworks on their phone and wonder, when are they going to watch that? If you've seen it in person, you've seen the best of it. Watching video of fireworks is far below recreating the experience that you can experience by just literally just watching it in person. And same, like I used to do wedding videography at a production company I worked for. And the biggest frustration for wedding videographers and photographers alike is what we call in that industry, the Uncle Bob. And Uncle Bob is the guy that's standing up, leaning out into the aisle as the bride's coming down with his freaking iPad and filming the bride coming down as there are professional videographers and photographers trying to professionally capture this moment. Now we have Uncle Bob in the shot with his big iPad. Or, you see these glowing phones and devices in the aisle during this beautiful moment because everyone's trying to film for posterity because they think, what if I miss it? I don't know if they think that the videographers, what if they screw it up or something like that? And do they think that it's a real possibility that no one is going to capture this moment? So Uncle Bob takes it upon himself. But, all of that is filming for posterity at the expense of what really, really matters, at the expense of something better. And I liken this to hoarding. I don't know if you've ever seen the show Hoarders. It's remarkable what these folks' houses look like and how much stuff they collect and how unwilling they are to let go of the smallest thing, like some random vinyl record from the 70s or something like that, or like a jacket they got at a thrift store or just anything. And collecting hours and hours of footage for posterity is kind of like that. It's like, if you were honest with yourself, you know you're probably not going to use that in any form. No one's really going to watch it. It's just going to sit there on a hard drive collecting dust. And yet we feel this pressure to, like, if the event goes by and we didn't take video of it, we've somehow missed some big opportunity. So that's the problem. And like I said, it's a common problem. There's all kinds of stuff that, I hear about videographers. I talk to a lot of in-house video folks that, have said something along the lines of they're just getting swept up in filming presidential messages and, events that just don't matter. Like, I don't know, pancake breakfast or something like that, where it's like, that's not going to be the thing. I mean, you're paying a videographer a salary. That's not, that's not going to be the biggest return on that investment is filming the pancake breakfast. Let someone film that with their iPhone. Here's the rub though, is, I understand that there's these kind of politics, these internal politics, and you want to make people happy and you want to ride this line between what is a priority for the marketing team and also be like kind of wanting to respect their requests and maybe empower them to do them themselves, or just kind of like validate that, yeah, that's a good need. That doesn't mean that we have to do everything. So here is a shift that I have been thinking about since this workshop. And it's a way that everyone gets what they want. Now, what I think the best thing to do is to establish priorities for what kind of content gets a yes, gets the green light, and what kind of content is way on the back burner. And with this particular school, that's exactly what we're working on together, is defining those strategic priorities where the content and the institutional goals are a fit. But there's a couple of things. So what if right now you said, you know what, while we don't have our priorities in order, or we don't feel like we can say no, what if right now, instead of refusing to film the events altogether, or just filming the events and just being yes men and women, what if you turned those posterity or requests into something that actually moves the needle? And it's this concept I like to call going long to go short. It's the idea of going long to go short. And we all know that short form video is the hot thing, right? So TikTok, Instagram Reels, YouTube Shorts, but there's this pressure to constantly crank out like, 200 or so unique, short videos a year for those vertical platforms. That's really overwhelming when you think about it. Like, okay, we got to keep up. We got to keep the algorithm fed and happy. But the mindset shift is when you take something that is long, that there may be a few interesting things in, you've killed two birds. You've documented the thing, but you've documented it for a reason that is going to help you grow your audience and influence your audience by taking things that actually might work really well in a short form context out of this boring event. Like, think about the event. It's someone speaking, or maybe, someone's a guest speaker you have on campus and they're giving a speech and whatever. Like, long after I graduated and I had gotten into video production, my college, the art school I went to, had the founder of Twitter, Jack Dorsey, come to campus and give a lecture. And there was about 20 people in the room. It was this really intimate lecture. And he was just starting Cash App. And he was telling us about, the idea behind Cash App and how they were going to grow it and all this stuff. And I'm not sure how this applied to art students, but it was really interesting. And I was, our company that I used to work for, we were hired to go film it. So that's something you should absolutely film that. You get the founder of Twitter before the pre-Elon founder, this billionaire that's like started so many crazy things. And yes, definitely film that. And there's going to be, I wish I could show you an example. There were so many tidbits in this that would be perfect today for a vertical platform that would just, I don't say go viral or go nuts, but like would actually be interesting, would have some legs to it. Him saying things that challenge thinking about like how we pay people, how we think about the exchange of money and how do we make that easier and things like that. Cause like I said, he was developing Cash App, but most events aren't like that. They're not, that are not really interesting like that. But if you got a guest speaker come, use it as an opportunity to say like, oh, let's get some short form content out of this. Let's film the thing, make the people happy that asked for it, but then we're going to actually have a plan for repurposing this and distributing it intentionally. And then if you have, maybe you have a boring event. A pancake breakfast is not a boring event for the people that eat pancakes. I love pancakes. So that is not a boring event to me. That would be the highlight of my day. But if I was a prospective student, I wouldn't care to watch that footage. But what about that could you film that is cool, that could work as a short form piece of content? I'm gonna give you two examples. Let me back up to the lecturer, this lecturer that's coming to talk on a niche topic. University of California, they filmed this lecture of this guy, and I talked about this in my webinar, What's Working in Higher Ed Video, which you can get at unveiled.tv/higher ed video, where we talk about 7 different themes of video content that is getting a lot of engagement in higher ed. One of these is these just very simple clips of someone just talking about something interesting. And so it was this professor, and he was talking about the effects of sugar on metabolic syndrome. I'm not sure what metabolic syndrome is, but he's the expert at it. And he's, I guess, the metabolic syndrome guy. So this one clip, and it's their most viral YouTube short. Last time I checked, it had well over 1 million views. I can't remember how many. It might be 2 million or something like that. But that thing went crazy. And we saw that as we were researching for this What's Working in Higher Ed video report that we put out that you can get at that URL. We saw this as a pattern, that videos, short clips of someone just saying something profound really resonated with a niche audience. There was a clip from University of Chicago where there's like 3 politicians, just old white guys, talking about some very like niche political thing that I'm sure was relevant at the time or something like that. And that was one of their most successful videos as well. It would have otherwise been just a boring, watching 3 old guys talk about politics. That doesn't sound really exciting. But for the people that are into that sort of thing, it really had legs and it got a lot of engagement. We saw that across the board. That was one of the things that always floated to the top, was someone saying something interesting on camera. And so when you have an event with a guest speaker, or maybe it's your president giving the talk, and they're going to, and you're tasked with filming this event, think of it as a positive. Let's make sure we get the person, mic'd up, or put a mic on the podium so we have good quality audio. Let's film this. Maybe we film it so that in a way that we can crop it vertically, and we're taking notes and we're looking for things that could be interesting, like viral-ish type stuff. Like, what are profound ideas, new ideas, fresh ways of thinking about things, some funny moments, like just something remarkable. What is remarkable about this thing? And how can you cut that into a 30 or a 60-second thing? And how many? Maybe you can get a bunch of those out of that. So that's how you turn an event, just for posterity event, into, no, we're actually going to do this because we want to do it, not because we're just being tasked with doing it, because we've tied it to the institutional goals, top of funnel, attracting students that are interested in that niche topic. So that might even influence who you decide to come do a guest lecture. If you're trying to fill seats in a particular program that maybe is lagging behind, maybe you invite some influencers from that industry to come and give a talk. It's interesting for the in-person crowd. You've got the whole thing filmed for posterity for the 1 or 2 people that couldn't make it. But really, you're thinking, what short clips can I get out of this? I know they're going to say a bunch of interesting stuff, and this stuff is going to absolutely be repurposed. It's not just going to sit on a hard drive. It's going to be out into the world, the algorithm. Let the algorithm do its thing. Okay, great. So that's one thing. I want to go back to the pancake breakfast. So like, what do you do with these events that like there's nothing really like profound being said, but maybe it's like event coverage or something like that? It's like, that might be some like, people smiling, people eating pancakes, whatever. I can't remember the school, but this one school had a video from a pancake breakfast on like a TikTok or Instagram Reels that actually did quite good. It got, for it even to make it into the report, it had to have at least, around 100,000 views. And it had to be one of that school's top performing videos from that account, account on that channel. And all this was, if I remember correctly, it was this guy who was grilling up pancakes, and he's flipping pancakes, and the students are like 15 feet away, and they're catching the pancakes on the plate. And it's just like interesting, just like a fun moment. And then they put that with a trending song. So that's the key too. Like the trending song or the trending sound corrects a lot of things that would otherwise be boring without it. The algorithm loves a trending song or a trending sound, like, some meme or something like that or whatever. So they did that, and it really took off for them. And it's just vibes. That's all it is vibes. So you have opportunities to film events where people might say something interesting, but then you have this other category of like events where it might just be vibes. So how can we take this and really go double down on the vibes and put a trending song to this? And we're going to create a highlight reel for TikTok or whatever of this event. And it's going to be sweet. And it's going to just really have a lot of energy. And when people watch this, they might be like, oh, that's kind of fun. Like, I love that. Like student life, you can have, this go in your student life playlist on YouTube or something like that. Just like take it, when you take it seriously, when you're forced to go into a situation where you have to film for posterity, figure out how you can use it and amplify it in a way that's actually interesting. And maybe this is how you say no to things, because maybe if there's zero opportunities for anything short form for this event, I don't know what that would be. Maybe that's the thing you say, okay, this does not reach the threshold of getting our internal, video team involved. There's nothing that we can use this for institutionally beyond posterity. So that's just, one idea that you can consider. Okay. And the other thing about this is this. Here's the other win-win. This is really a win-win-win. This is a win for you. You get short form content out of a boring event. It's a win for the person that asked for it. They get their thing that they asked for. And the one person got to watch it on YouTube later. And the third win is the beauty of and what we talked about in the report, what's working in higher ed video, is that these don't have to be really highly produced. You don't need cinematic cameras for something to have a viral quality and get a lot of engagement. It just has to be interesting. Just point the camera at interesting things. Any camera could be an iPhone. Actually, iPhone would be great. That would be the ideal. But the win here, our third win in the win-win-win, is what if you got your media students to say, hey, we're going to have them cover this event, and they're going to learn how to do audio. Trust me when I tell you, if you learn how to film an event and manage the audio and the different camera angles and then cut that together and stuff like that, you will learn so much. I learned so much about production that's helped me in all aspects of production from filming weddings, because when you're filming a wedding, you don't have a 20-person crew. You have like one or two people that has to do everything and make this really cinematic video with really high quality audio and stuff like that. And you just have to learn how to do that and how to manage risks of, something failing, the audio failing. What's their backup situation? So there's so many learning opportunities filming an event. I don't care what the event is. You practice filming B-roll of, students listening. Practice filming, like, how do you know when someone might smile or they might clap? Or how do you know where in the talk that the person is giving that the interesting clippable stuff might be? Spoiler, it's typically at the beginning of their talk or the very end. So there's all these sort of nuances that that as a media student can learn while they're also filming the event, getting the posterity coverage and giving you short form material to work with. Or you set up a system where just anyone can do this. So like, it doesn't even have to be the media team. You don't even have to involve them. What if you had a system where anybody on campus that maybe knows how to push the camera button on their phone, that has that level of skill, can come and document this event. So I have an Insta360 camera. It's such a great little camera. It's 360 degrees, it's filming. So it's, without getting too much into it, it's a great camera for just like behind the scenes stuff and just lo-fi kind of stuff. And the great thing about it is you can just set it somewhere and it's filming all the way around. It's filming things that are happening behind you, it's in front of you, to the side of you. You don't have to point it anywhere. It's filming all the way around. It's 360. That's how that works. You could just get, an Insta360. They're like $500. Get some sort of tripod or something to mount it to that would go on the stage. anyone can come along, boom, set that thing up, turn it on, hit record. Maybe you have, some instructions that go with it so you get the settings right. But that's it. And then they turn in the video clip, and you haven't had to involve anybody professional or the media department at all. Whoever's organizing the event should know how to do this so they can film their own stuff. So it might be as simple as an investment in some gear. If you want to talk gear more, feel free to email me, john@unveiled.tv, and I'm happy to make some recommendations. I love talking about gear and workflow and stuff like that. So feel free to reach out to me if that's an area that you want to pursue, is like, how do we equip the person that's asking for this or the department that's asking for this to film this themselves, or how do we remove the professional video team from the equation and use their time more strategically elsewhere. It could be as simple as it's just a small gear investment. Maybe you already have a camera. Just set up a process so that it's easy and dummy proof for someone to come, turn the camera on, hit record, point it at the stage. You're probably not going to get great audio that way. So that's where I'm kind of like, maybe get the media students in there that learn how to do the audio. But there are also ways to make that very easy. Things you can buy for like $100 that could just a little recorder that just sits on the podium and captures audio of whoever's standing near it talking. And that's better than capturing audio from 30 feet away where the camera is. Just so you know, little tip about video, wherever you have the camera and you have no external microphone, that's how far away the microphone is. The microphone currently that I'm talking into is 6 inches from my face. If I were to back up and go into the hallway, watch what happens, or listen to what happens, rolling my butt out of the office here, you'll notice that this sounds like crap, right? So I am about 10 feet away from the microphone now. Still significantly closer than anyone would be standing with a camera for an event. Really, I would be back here in the bathroom. So I'm like 20 feet away right now. If we don't have a microphone connected to this camera, and we're just filming it with the onboard microphone, that's the audio you're gonna get, is from that far away, super echoey, unusable. So a small investment in how to do some very simple event audio that's very dummy proof is helpful. And that's just so you can equip non-video people to do the job that people are asking for. Win, win, win. And then we can expand this go long to go short thing to things like presidential messages. Don't just film a 10-minute, update and then just bury it on your website. Clip it out into, 30-second clips, maybe where the president announces a new internship partnership, or, that can become a piece for like, enrollment content. Some like an enrollment email drip or something. Share it with recruiters, put it in an email, drop it on Instagram, whatever it is. And then maybe you can set your president up to say interesting things that you want him to talk about that he or she didn't come there to talk about initially, but you're just be like, hey, extra stuff for our short form video strategy here. Can you talk about scholarships? Can you talk about a story of a student that just really changed your life, that you saw some success in, or something like that? Whatever. Ask me whatever. Figure out what would be good for short form platforms. The same thing with student testimonials, student success stories. Film for the long thing, but then don't forget to think about, while we've got the student here, we can ask them whatever we want. Let's ask them, 8 or 10 questions that are going to lead to good short form content. And that is what we do at Unveiled. That's how we've structured our subscription packages for student success stories. Is we film 12 packages of stories, 1 per month, but then you get the full length thing, 2 to 3 minutes videos of Jamie's story, whatever, a 30-second cut down, a 15-second cut down, and then 8 topical short form videos. And that's one package, and you get that package 12 times. And we use a process that we are suggesting to you that you can do on your own, which is think about the needs of the funnel. Think about the student journey. What emails are they getting? What's a video that you can put in this random email that they might get right after they submit, a request for information or something like that you can get a student perspective talking about? Maybe it's like, I'm so glad that I came to such and such college. was the best decision I ever made. Here's why, whatever. That could be just like a separate little aside that you could ask a student to speak on while you've got this camera, recording them, and, repeat that. So, when we do interviews, we are always asking, 10 or so additional aside questions that aren't part of their story necessarily, but that we can give to the client, to the school, for talking about the things that are important to their, messaging pillars, but getting it from a student perspective. Podcasts, same thing. One episode can generate potentially dozens of little moments that can really travel much farther than the original long episode ever could. So instead of filming things where the long form piece by itself would be very low impact, think about how you can break that up into short clips, get a lot more mileage out of that, get that effort to be intentional and connected to your institutional goals and moving the needle towards those goals, and put those clips where your audiences actually are. Always be asking yourself, can we get more out of this? Every event, every interview, every message, treat them as opportunities to create content that ties back to those goals, like enrollment, yield, reputation, whatever. That's how you avoid becoming like the yes department, and instead become the team that makes video actually work for your institution. That's going long to go short. I hope you take that. Hope you use it. And if you do, I hope you send it to me, john@unveiled.tv. I'd love to see some of the cut downs that you get and how you've been intentional about what would otherwise be a very low impact opportunity. Thanks. Hey, thanks so much for listening. 3 things I want to invite you to before you go. Number 1, if you want to know what's working right now in higher ed video, like what videos are getting tons of views, likes, comments, all that, you can get ungated access to our report, aptly named What's Working in Higher Ed Video, a comprehensive guide for higher ed Marcom leaders and content creators. So check it out at unveiled.tv/higheredvideo, and you might want to bookmark it because it's designed to be a resource for you that you can keep referring back to for inspiration. Number 2, reminder to sign up for my free newsletter all about content creation and strategy at unveiled.tv/newsletter. And number 3, follow me on LinkedIn. If you're searching for me, my name is John Azoni. It's spelled JOHNAZONI. I'm on there all day, every day, for better or for worse, posting regular content and engaging with folks like you. So I'd love to connect with you on there. And with that, we'll catch you on the next episode of the Higher Ed Storytelling University podcast. And as always, I am cheering you on. Okay, bye.